Okay, so here we are in part two. Um, this is what we're going for. I've already selected my object and opened up the UV editor. So for this object, you probably have something that is an absolute mess when you open the file, or if you're just following along. Um, a lot of times your object looks horrible. So how to unwrap a cylindrical object like a oil barrel. Okay, so this is all wrong. This is bad stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with camera based to get rid of all the seams, and that's going to leave me with open edges on the bottoms of these. Um, this one here, let's see. There's one that has an error. I believe it's this one. So what I'm going to do is select that UV shell, and I'm going to move that up and out of the way because there is a problem with this one. Oh, nope, it's good. Never mind. That was a previous file. Um, okay, so, um, okay, so here we have the barrel. All right, so the way I'm going to start this is I usually start, I think about cylindrical objects like a tin can. Cut off the top, cut off the bottom, make a seam up the side. You should only need like one seam and you should be groovy. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to edge mode. I'm going to select this top edge here and hit cut and cut off the top. And then I'm going to flip it over and do the same thing on the bottom. Select that edge, hit cut, and flip it back over. Now, I can select one of these edge loops on the side and cut from there. But if I select that edge loop in the 3D view, it continues past the previous UV shell that we already selected. So I'm going to take that same edge loop and uh, select it over here in the UV editor, and you'll see it stops at the previous UV shell, which saves us time selecting edges, or selecting an edge loop and then deselecting a whole bunch of edges. So if I hit cut on that one, take the UV shells and then just hit unfold and then hit layout, I actually have a fairly decent unwrap, which works. So we got the top and bottom good to go. And let's look at the sides. Now these spouts, you could cut them a little bit more if you really wanted to. Treat each of these as a cylinder on its own. So I could go in here, go to edge mode, and maybe cut it there and there. Cut that. And then go here to the go right about here. Maybe cut it there. Hit cut. And then split this side so it's nice and straight. So I'd select that edge loop over here, hit cut, and then basically do the same thing right here. So I could cut that one, maybe cut it right there. And then I would have a couple UV shells, hit unfold, and then that kind of separates those out a little bit. But for this spout, I don't want that many seams, so I'm just gonna keep it the way it is. Now these little pieces here, I usually split at the stress points just so it's a little bit flatter. So select those edge loops, hit cut, go here, do that, hit cut, dun, 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 hit cut. UVW unwrapping is a lot of repetition. Select an edge loop, hit cut, select an edge loop, hit cut, select an edge loop, hit cut. Or just select edges and hit cut, depending on what you're doing with your object. Like when we do the next one, it'll be a more complex object, so we will need to place more manual edges. This one's pretty simple. We'll just select these stress points here. And hit cut and go to UV shell and unfold and it's done. Okay, so now we just got the side of the barrel to deal with. Relay those out. I think it did it. There we go. All right, so now we just got the side of the barrel. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, you could select the UV shell and you could go straighten UVs and see if that works out for you. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. In this case, it actually worked out. So you want to try to get that as parallel as possible so you can put graphics or whatever on the side. But that is basically how you lay out a cylindrical object. Cut off the top and bottom, put a seam up the side, and you're good. So, yeah, so that's pretty much it. So we used cut and unfold and layout for the most part. Straighten UVs as well, camera based. So yeah, that's really all there is to it. So in the next video, we'll do a more complex object. So, all right, have a good one.